Okay, so now we got Twilight Render installed in our Sketchup. We've learned how to use point lights and spotlights. Let me show you how to put those into your model and start making some pretty cool things happening. I'm sharing my screen. Here we are inside Sketchup, inside this goofy model that I've been messing around with that you've seen. And now that you know what to look for, you can start to see that I've got some things installed in here. You can see I've got, I better turn on edges because you can't actually see very well what's going on. View, edge style, edges. There you can start to see things. So there is a point light right there inside this light fixture. What I did was just go to the components warehouse and say, give me a light fixture that would look kind of cool in my kitchen, a hanging light fixture, and then I put it in here. Sorry, let me just hit scene 5 here. Scene 5, by the way, and when you make a scene, it includes things like, do I want edges? Do I want time of day? Do I want sun making shadows? So you can set a lot of things in your scene that will determine how it looks. So there's a point light right there. Here are a bunch of spotlights out here that have a certain amount of fall off. As you can see, there's a colored one inside the light fixture. It's important, by the way, to know that you don't want, these are pot lights that I downloaded. I put a little note in there to get the one by Naya, N-A-I-A. That's what these are from the components warehouse. The point of the light doesn't touch the light. As soon as the point of that light, like if I grab this light and just grab this part of it and hit move, if I move that up on the blue axis, you see what happens? It starts, if I get the point of it up inside there, it shuts that light off basically. It says I no longer can shine through an opaque surface. So you have to leave it down a bit, just as a little note to you. So I'm going to hit scene 5 again, go back here, and this is what, as you know, I can render this, I can get a JPEG rather from the file export menu. But I just want to show you what this looks like when I hit the render button. I've got same thing, 800 by 562, low, and I just want to run this and see what I've got. So it'll just go ahead and say, well, that's your last render, the last thing that we had before. I'm going to start running it now. So it'll start to bring in the light fixtures that are up in the ceiling up there. You see this really great light in the front here that lights up, and then it kind of washes those spotlights along the wall. The spherical sky continues to happen back here. I might want to go back in there and change the brightness of the sun. But I'm kind of happy with how that's starting to look. I'm starting to get some nice dramatic shadows back here under the Eames chair. That ceiling light fixture is giving me a nice pool of light right there. So things are starting to happen here. Tiny thing, but if you find yourself wishing to mess around with your image, you can change your post-processing and it will do it on the fly. This right now is set to 1.8. That's what 1.0 looks like, 1.5. Gamma then has to do with the amount of contrast in the image. So I can pop that and brighten the whole thing a little bit. So there's a lot more controls inside here that we probably don't want to mess with very much. But just in case you find yourself wanting to fool around with your images, 1.0 is the default standard setting. So, but you could control a bit of that. So I'm kind of happy with what's happening in here. I might go back and change my lighting in here. When you're done, this is going to continue to run. Hit that little stop button. Are you sure you want to stop the render? Yeah, I'm sure. And then it will also ask you, do you want to save this image? No, I do not at this point. So I can make those kinds of changes. But basically that's what that looks like, is that I can put my lights inside fixtures in my scene and then play with those to my heart's content. Change things like spotlight or fall off or things like that. So hopefully you now have a really clear sense of how to play with these toys, and you're going to have a ton of fun. I look forward to seeing what awesome things you create. See you later.